Yesterday, we looked at whether karmic. So, all Indians today have a karmic debt, I guess, because they have to go through all of these pains, which is not there in any Western countries. Okay, now we see what we can learn from Buddha Dhamma. Now we are here. That means now I am in India, and so others sitting here who have a lot of issues. It's not that nobody else has issues, but we have basic issues which are not there in Western countries. So, what does Buddha say? So, to understand this, we need to understand what is perception, because self is a perception. So, the question comes, what do we perceive? The perception is a self. Now, what we are trying to do is to let go of perception and hence attaining Nirodha Samapatti. Okay. As long as there's a perception, so long there is I and self. And so long there is no perception, there is no I and self. That's the ultimate truth. So when we say Nirodha Samapatti, is it only Buddha Dhamma which talks of Nirodha Samapatti? Or do we have Nirodha Samapatti in every given tradition? And you will be shocked to know it is. So it's not exclusive to Buddha Dhamma that there is something called as Nirodha Samapatti. So in the debating hall, they all meet up along with the Buddha. This is, I'm referring to DN9 Pottapada Sutta. For those people who have not even gone through once, just a small introduction that Buddha will be free on that day. So he just wants to go and talk to some other sect, other sectarians who are also named as Shramana. So basically, you need to also understand certain key things here. Paribhajaka or Parivrajaka means ascetics. Okay. What is an asceticism? Asceticism is this ism. Ascetic ism means what? What is to be an ascetic? Ascetic is a person who is in search of truth. Okay. So Paribhajaka or Parivrajaka in Sanskrit means one who is going to find the truth. And one who finds the truth is called as Jina, one over. And hence Jains are called Jina because they have found the truth. In the same way, Parivajaka or Paribhajaka, they find the truth. It's called as Siddha, accomplished. And this in the Buddha, it's called Arhat. Okay. So you need to understand a little bit on Indian philosophical system. Otherwise, you will get conditioned to believe that no other tradition offers anything. In fact, Indian tradition offers everything for every kind of person like to look at the reality. So basically, from the time immemorial, people of this place are not interested much in material comforts. because you're supposed to find the reality. And the reality is not material. So they know it for sure. That's not material. Whereas when we consider or compare with developed nations or Western society or whatever, including China, we can see that materialism is the cornerstone of success. Okay. That means if you have to develop, you have to develop comforts. So all that we are doing is finding ways and means of having comfort for sight or for the eyes and for the ears and for the nose and for the tongue and for the body and for the mind. So all of the traditions in India went on the other side of the equation to find out what makes this eye pleasing and ears and nose and tongue and body and mind. So they found out that if you keep on supplying, there is never ending greed for that. They wanted to find something different. Okay? And hence they were termed as Paribhajaka, one who is in search of truth. And when they encountered Buddha, they asked questions of reality. In what term does Gautama, because they don't call him Buddha, in what terms does Gautama explain reality? Different than what I've understood? Or is it the same? Or is it different? Something is same and something is different. Or many things are same and many things are different. Or little things are same and little things are different. Like that. So when we look from one part of the prism, it would look like it's green in color or red in color or blue in color, indigo in color, so Vibgyor. But if you see from internal, it is white. So basically, that's what is the question. What is the realistic state of a consciousness which is established? We know it is established, but tell me, Gautama, what do you think? We have many views relating to this because we see it that way. Or what is that you are thinking? And why do you think that way? And why do you think we are wrong? Because we are also in search of reality. We have found this reality and we know this is real. But there is gaps and we are doing our best to find the gaps. Tell me, dear Gautama, is there anything in your view, in your way of working, that can shatter our imagination or understanding? Or are you misunderstood so that we will give you clarity and you change your view? This is the context. The entire Sutta Pitaka is on that context. So we should not presume the fact that those people who came and spoke to Buddha were some dumb idiots. It's not true. It's like I going and asking a consulting firm who is into a particular technology and they've implemented the practices in different companies. And I'm implementing in this company. So when we meet, they are going to ask me, Vilas, tell me how have you implemented this? And what difference did you find? And then I'm going to explain. So when I explain, they're going to ask me further questions and how this works and why it works. And if it is good, they call it as a best practice and they put my name because this company, how we've implemented, is pretty good and it can be considered as a best practice. So they will document the best practice and they will say that this technology and this concept applied on this product works. And we have seen it demonstrated by so and so person. So we'll put it as best practices. So going forward, people can use this tool to get rid of a particular problem. They're facing this problem. This is a sure shot solution for them. Okay. So we shouldn't get into a wrong understanding that people at that time were idiots when they used to visit Buddha, or they didn't know anything and Buddha ridiculed them. In fact, there's not even a single sutta where Buddha is ridiculed. A single sutta is not there. So don't get into this wrong opinions, because if you want to progress, if you have a wrong view, that's going to be a costly blocker. You will never get out of this mess. So when you read the sutta on your own or you hear from someone and that someone is cursing other sectarians, just close that YouTube video or whatever you're hearing, because that's not true. It will take you to a wrong reality. That means it will make you have vyapada more and more. So that is an hindrance. So don't get it and don't do it. Just a caution, because this Pottapada Sutta is based upon that. I just wanted to give you a basic insight. So all of those people who met Buddha in this sutta are intelligent people. Many of them are more intelligent than Gautama. Yeah. But Gautama is a biggest logician. So they fear when they meet the Buddha. But Pottapada likes what Buddha says. So he has courage to go and question further on Gautama. Okay. So what is this self? This today's sutta is on self, because when we say dite dite mattam, sute sute mattam, mute mute mattam, vinyate vinyate mattam, is to see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and think without a person. No person. So then the question comes, how does the consciousness, which is established, goes out of production? What happens to it? Where does it go? And where does it come? It's a good question. Very nice, intriguing question, which you should or I should have. Where does consciousness go upon death? And where does it come? Have you ever thought? So, if you have not thought, and yesterday's topic is quite relevant, saying that it's God who is taking it out to establish somewhere, or karmically something has gone wrong or some random causes caused it. Because we don't know. We're seeing person dying. Like I've seen my mother dying. I've seen my father dying. I've seen my uncles dying. But where do they go? Is there anyone called as A, B, C going? No. We don't even get to see consciousness going out of the body, let alone seeing someone. We can only see the breath stopping. And then we rush to the doctor, and the doctor tests and says that pronounced dead. There's no life. So what did we do? What do we do? Like in my case of my father, took him to the hospital and then they put electric shock and that gave a wide straight line. He said, the doctor came out and said, "We're sorry, he's dead." So then the question comes, where did he go? It's the most intriguing question. After 7 years, my mom died on the road, not hit on run or whatever. She just went for a morning walk, and that's it. So when the neighbors took her to the hospital, there's a flat line. So when I tried to search for my mother, the neighbor said, Vilas, see your mother here. She's on a stretcher. So let's bring it, burn it, done. So what happened? So what are the possible solutions? So he says that, is there anything called as Abhisanya Nirodha? Can there be something called as Abhisanya Nirodha? And if it is there, how does it work? Now, you see this word Sanya Vedita Nirodha and Abhisanya Nirodha. The Paribhajakas know that is, there is Sanya Nirodha, perception ending. They know, but they don't know how. They know the answer for what, but they don't have the answer for how. Okay. So they asked Gautama, what do you think, Gautama? And before that, Gautama Buddha asked, what were you debating in this hall? Can I know? And they say, there are 5 things we were debating, Gautama, before you arrived. And we are not convinced each other, we are trying to prove each other wrong. So, what do you think is the right way, if at all there is? Okay. And then the first thing is, he says, Ahetu apachaya. Ahetu means without cause. Apachaya means without any condition. It's there till there and it's gone to gone. Because neither we can see or we can know where the perception ends. Why this key word of perception? Because consciousness is the only thing which can perceive an object. Otherwise, there's nothing. Like a coma patient, he is having Jivit Indriya, meaning he's having life, but there is no conscious experience. So, what do? They bring in, like Michael Schumacher. He had a head injury and it's been years. He's on the bed. He doesn't know. So, there is no perception. And what are we trying to do with Sanya Vedata Nirodha? Is to cut that perception. That means you stop consciousness. Okay. And hence I was telling Shaniel, wait for me. That if it just stops abruptly, then there's no way to come out. Anyway, he was able to do it. I'm happy, quite happy with his accomplishment. But it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? It cuts off perception. And then what will you do? I don't know. So the first answer here is, how did you get into that? If I were to ask Shaniel, he's going to say, Vilasji, I don't know, it just happened. Okay, ahetu apachaya. Is that the right answer? Oh, one of the answer. Absolutely one of the answer. And then we go to the second one. Then the second one would be that atta, I did it. The I comes and I goes. That is, at the right time, the I comes, and the right time, the I goes. So I came and I left. So when it comes, I comes. When it goes, I goes. And we can't say for sure why this I came, because it is deep intrinsic nature. Only at Sanya Vedata Nirodha, the I is gone. Otherwise, is somebody imagining there is no I within the I itself, which makes no sense, but that's how perception works. Okay. So there is an I, not the physical I. That's okay. You can say, okay, I'm not a physical I, Sotapanna, fine, done. But what about this deep I, which identifies with itself as an unconscious existence, not conscious existence? It's literally unconscious. Just comes out as I and just goes into sleep again. Okay, that's the second. And third one, he says, there are powerful paribhajakas. Samana Brahmana Mahiddika Mahanubhava, they have accomplished. Like if you take Mahavatar Babaji, or people are following, I don't know whether you have read a book called as Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhamsa Yogananda. And his teacher's teacher is Mahavatar Babaji. And his disciple is Yukteswar Giri. Okay. And another disciple is Lahiri Mahasai. So they have done wonderful things. They could multiply. They could stay at the two places at the same time. And Yukteswar has done it many times. The teacher of Yogananda. Now the question were to be asked. how they could do it, how they could do two perceptions at once. That means at the same time, two people existed. Lahari Masai meeting Yukteswar and happening to Yogananda is just a miracle. He meeting his teacher and he's meeting a student at the same time. How? Okay, now take Upali as an example. Upali as a scavenger. He made himself as 50 Upalis. There are 50 mango trees. Each mango tree had a Upali. So when Pasindi sent his guards to pick up Upali, because Buddha told, go and pick up, he saw 50 Upalis, all saying, I am Upali. And those guards got fear, so much fear. They shrieked and then they just came and reported to the king, Sir, we've seen something which is unbelievable. We're seeing 50 Upalis. And then the Buddha says, go and tell this, and that will make the 49 disappear, and the original Upali will come back. Now that's perception, right? So how does it happen? It happened due to Upali. And the same thing happened due to Yukteswar and Lahiri Mahasaya. So can this be done? Yes. The consciousness is doing it. Yes, absolutely. The consciousness is doing it. So they say these people have the power to make some consciousness work like this. So when they want, it happens. When they don't want, it doesn't happen. That's a miracle. That's why it's called miracle. Because, like what Buddha showed after his attainment, he has done a lot of miracles. Why it is miracle? Because it's not common. It cannot be reproduced by anyone. And is showing the magical power of the consciousness. So it's possible. Just like past life regression. Possible. And who is seeing that? The consciousness. So it's going to the past life and 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 past life like that. Means perception. That's what is working. Okay. And the next one. He says Devata Mahidika Mahanubhava. Actually, more than the magicians, it's the gods who do it. They can enter into a being at will and go outside at will. So they can do it. In my case itself, from 2013 end to 2022, I had a disembodied being helping me different ways. Ultimately had to request him, please leave me so that I can learn things on my own. The entire Vedanta, what I've learned, is because of him. So, how did he work with my perception? I have no clue. But if you give me a book at that time, I have never opened it, get reading it. But this being is able to transmit all the shlokas, not only make me understand, I can also preach. And it laughs after that. Look how I'm able to give you. Now, what do we have to say for that? Who is this person? I don't know. Is that a divine being? I'd have no idea. Is it somebody whom I know? I have no idea. Is it a sage? I have no idea. I don't know anything. And now I don't have that being. That much I know. So if the question is, was I hallucinating? No. But then who is that person? I don't know. This is again a perception. So it tallies with what is there in that. It's some samana, brahmana with psychic powers can do it. Yep, I think so. Why that? In the 2023, when I went to Vipassana retreat, I got to see a deity, and the way it explained Kalapa is totally different than the way Goenka had explained the Kalapa in the 10-day retreat. And the experience what I had after the deity explaining to me was the most profound insight of Kalapa than what Goenka was explaining. Now, who is this being? I have no idea. Did I see it? Yes, I did. Did I have an experience of the deity coming and talking? Yes, I had. But what? Why not now? I don't know. So does that mean if you go to a Goenkaji retreat, it's going to get deities? I don't know. But after December 2023, I have not seen a single deity coming and talking to me. And that happened on the seventh day. And funnily, on the eighth day, the assistant teacher called me saying that your meditation is pretty good. I want to know what you do. And I told him everything of the book of the Buddha teaching. And he said, I didn't even know, but we can't do it in our tradition. We go by what Goenka says. I said, so be it. But he was able to notice as very strangest part because they did not give me the Shunyagara. So I just had asked him on the fifth day that, can I have a Shunyagara? And then they said, first time we don't give in Bangalore and we don't even have to give you because it's on painting. Anyway, cutting the story short, who is this person? So now the question comes, how do you get into Sanya Vedita Nirodha? If there so many perceptions are going to be there from so many different deities and gods and angels and demons and ghosts and all of that, how do you end it? And who ends it? This is a question. A very intriguing question. So these are the five of them where this is the question. So one is the Samana Brahmana, one is God, and one is the person himself doing it. Okay. And one is there's no condition. Sorry, there are four of them. And the fifth one, the first one is Abhisanya Nirodha. Okay. So this is the preamble, this is the setting on which I, not EYE, I or self is placed. Okay. Now, why did I speak all of that yesterday? Is to tell you the perceptions. This is the highest perceptions, what we are talking now. Yesterday was the lowest perceptions, but still a perceptions. Australia and US and the roads and the traffic and this and that are perceptions. So, didn't you have experience while I'm speaking? You would. If I talk about Mumbai local train, immediately the perception comes, irrespective whether you are in the train or not. And look at the train which Eru is going, and look at the train we have in India. It looks like a bullock cart, what you have in India versus what he is sitting and going there. Okay. Now, isn't that a perception? Yes, it is. It's 100% perception. So, which is good? The Indian Railways is good, or what he's going there is good? What would be the answer? The answer is it looks good because it's something better made up. But at that point in time, the made up is not there. It looks real. So, really, it is looking good. It's more comfortable. He's sitting and you can see very nice things. The interior of the coach is so nice. In India, also, we are getting, but not every train like that. In fact, the best ever train to travel is from Shanghai to Lhasa, which I was about to go. It got cancelled because I got a job in Abu Dhabi. So otherwise, I would have gone from that end-to-end tour of Tibet, which has the best tunnels and best things to go to Lhasa. And maybe I would have seen my ancestors' home. At least I would have seen how my house looked during that life. Anyway, couldn't get it. That's a different matter. So there's a perception, right? If I say there's my past life, I'm seeing it as a perception, just like we're seeing this train. So now we'll go into another Upanishadic way of seeing this before we come to Buddha way. Why this is important is because, like I said, the paribhajyakas, the truth seekers have already found a good amount of truth. So we shouldn't get into a wrong impression that only Buddha could find truth and nobody else. Mogamanyam. The Buddha says, do you have this view? Mogamanyam. And if you have, then it's wrong. This is the only truth and everything else is false. No. So let's understand. I don't read the Sanskrit one, otherwise it becomes very tough on you. But I will tell you about what it is. Assuming a place which has thousands of bees, in the same way, in the Purusha Sukta, there is something called Sahasrashirsha Purushaha, Sahasrakshat Sahasrapad, Sabhumim Vishwato Vrittva Atyadishta Dashankulam. So if you just take those 4 lines, what it means is that 10,000s of heads, Sahasrashirsha Purushaha, they call it as Purusha as consciousness, call it as God, or call it by whatever, or self, or whatever you want to bring it as. It's thousands. Whatever you call as myself is thousands. Sahasrakshat, 1,000 eyes. Sahasrapad, 1,000 legs. Sabhumim, this earth, the bhumi, earth. Vishwato Vrittva. Vishwa means the world view. Vrittva is to turn around. Sabhumim Vishwato Vrittva Atyadishta Dashangulam. If you want to measure, it cannot fit your fingers. That means this consciousness, which is eternal, cannot be perceived as individual, even though it looks individual. So, The foolishness of the mind is to catch something as individual when there's no individuality exist, which is the seventh jhana, basically, so to say. Okay. And people used to attain seven jhanas and eight jhanas. So they explained from that point of view that this consciousness, looking separate, is not separate. It's one, just one. There's no separation. Whatever you say, I'm separated, you are not separated at all. There's nothing to separate. It seems separated. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, okay, there's a mention of this in considering the bees. The number of the bees go to different flowers to pick up the nectar. And what does it do? It comes and stores in one place. In the same way, the consciousness seems to appear in different places, but ends up being in the same place. There is no localization, there's no location. That means it doesn't occupy space. And what doesn't occupy space doesn't occupy time. So the consciousness is beyond time and space, which is 100% true. It's a creation of mind which says past, future, present. That's why Buddha says, don't take past, present, and future, because it is fabricated, it's not real. The consciousness has no concept of past, nor present, or future. It has momentary arising and momentary departure. That's all it knows. But it binds. So there seems to be a flow, like what the Purusha Sukta in the Vedas are talking about, that looks thousands, but it's not thousand there. There's only one. And that one is undivided. And what is undivided cannot be perceived by six senses, which is true. That's why it's called Abhisanya Nirodha, because cannot be perceived. It just exists. So when we say that something doesn't exist, is one extreme. Something truly exists is another extreme. That's what he says to the Kachayana. The world is split into two parts. Something really exists as exists, and something does not exist, because it's the perception which is causing this confusion. At those perceptions which sees the consciousness existing, truly see it existing all the time, and those perceptions which doesn't see it existing, they say they don't exist. But it nothing to do with existing and non-existing. It's conditionality which is making it seem to exist and also not exist. Yeah, Mangala, you put immeasurable. Yes, you cannot measure. What cannot be perceived can never be measured. Only what you can perceive is measured. Like in our whole group, I think Shaniel is the tallest. So is Shaniel the tallest? And we can say the body of Shaniel is tallest. Now, when we ask who is Shaniel apart than the body, then it looks absurd question, because he is 6 feet 2 inches in height, and I am 5 feet 4 inches in height. Am I really 5 feet 4 inches in height? No. Consciousness has got no localization, doesn't occupy space. So there is no thing called as I am 5 feet 4.5 inches versus Shaniel being at 6 feet 2 inches. Then is this his body growing into 6 feet 2 inches? But the body cannot grow without consciousness. Now we have a very confusing state because body is run by the mind, but mind is run by the body, so they are interlinked. So it's mind body complex. So, what's the perception now? Is Shaniel taller than me? The answer is silence. Am I shorter to Shaniel? Answer is silence. Because there is no thing called as tall and short. And this is how Buddha explains Nirodha Samapatti. Like Vinyanam, Anidasanam, Anantam, Sabbatopabam. The consciousness is immeasurable. Anidasana cannot be illustrated. Ananta, endless. Sabbatopabham is lighting everywhere. It's there. When? Yatta patavi cha apo cha tejo cha vayu nagadati. That means when it doesn't get a footing in earth, water, air, and fire. Yatta dhigancha rasancha anuthula shubha ashubham. That when dhiga, long, rasa, short. So I am shorter, Shaniel is taller. In fact, when Aryu came to India, Bangalore, he was thinking that I'm a very tall person. For what reason he felt tall, I don't know. And in the airport, he was looking for a tall person to come and meet him, and he saw a short person than him coming and meeting him, which shocked him further. In fact, Aryu had a lot of perceptions that if he hugged me, he's going to get enlightened. So he was wanting to hug me. And from the airport, he's feeling how to hug, I want to hug him. Then I get the bliss of Nibbana. So that's a perception. So I am shorter than Aryu. Aryu is 5 feet 7 inches or 6 inches, or whatever that is. And then I'm 5'4.5", or let's say 5'4", equivalent to a lady's height, basically. For what reason I look tall, I don't know. In fact, I look too short. So rasa, dhiga rasa, yatta dhigancha rasancha, anu thula. Anu means atomic. Thula means fat. Gross, totally gross. Shubha Ashubham. Shubha means auspicious, Ashubha means inauspicious. Yatta namancha rupancha asesam uparujjati. When the name and form are completely removed from the consciousness, Vinyanasa Nirodhena, that is, the Vinyana gets into Nirodha. This is exactly the Nirodha Samapatti. What you will experience when you cut all of this. So the perception ends. And hence there is no feeler. That's the end of suffering. Okay. Now, this is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He talks about just like they collect the flowers and make their honey, in the same way, all beings merge into that self. Not knowing I am he or I am this. This self is no self. What does Buddha say? Just see, what does he say? Anatta, no self. And what does Brihadaranyaka says? No self. You understand? So don't think only is there in Buddha teaching anatta, anatta. It's there in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I've just brought it just for your clarity, that shouldn't feel that these are foreign things to an Indian who is parivrajaka. They are seekers of truth. They know it. Then what's the point in differentiation? There is difference, which we will see. But first we should have a clarity. It's there in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It's also there in Purusha Sukta. It's also there in Narayana Sukta. There is also there in Sri Sukta. Okay, there's many references I can give you. Where it's there. Okay, so we're coming equal. And then they use the word neti neti. This is what Shankaracharya speaks about. Neti neti. Na iti. This is not. And what does Buddha say? Same thing. What does he say? Neso mama. Neso ahamasmi. Neso name atta. Neti. Shankaracharya brought it from the Upanishad, showing that neti neti. And here also it is there. Venugopal, this is not the right time to talk about the Four Noble Truths and other things. We are talking about perceptions. I'm going strictly on the Puttapada Sutta, not on some other diverting topics. So, the basic aim here is to understand what is the difference. That's the question what they're asking Gautama. Tell me, what do you think this is? This is what we know. This far we have got. Okay. So then it's a turn of Buddha explaining what it is. So basically in Indian philosophy, including Buddha, they talk about mirrors. Because at that time, mirror was an experiential reality versus virtual reality. So the mirror represents a virtual reality and you standing is the real, but it showcases itself as real, just like the camera here and I'm sitting here. It seems to be this person on the computer screen is as real as this. So which is real and which is fake? The one on the screen is fake and one sitting here is real. But it seems like two people, because whatever body movement is being done is seen in both the places. It's amazing. Now take another example. There's a dog. You can do this experiment at home. Maybe Bobby can do it, and also Lata has a dog and she can do it. Put it in front of a mirror. You see the fun how the dog perceives reality. You perceive reality as a mirror effect, where the dog perceives reality as real. So it starts barking and wagging its tail. Start like this. Try it out. Whoever has a dog in their home, just keep a mirror in front of it. See what happens. You will be shocked. The perception of a dog is totally different than a perception of a human. In the dog case, the dog first wags its tail, thinking there's another dog, and then it starts scratching the mirror. And then it doesn't get the dog. What does it do? It now barks few times. And when the dog is barking, it gets furious. Starts doing that. You remove the mirror, it stops. Yep, it's a beautiful experiment to see how consciousness plays. Consciousness as a dog plays one thing. Consciousness as a human plays another thing. Consciousness as a deva plays another thing. Consciousness as a Brahma plays another thing. And consciousness as an animals, different. There's different thing. Consciousness as birds, consciousness as insects, consciousness as protozoa. Everywhere, wherever there's consciousness, including bacteria, it has consciousness. That means it can feel. A sense of feeling. Now, that feeling, if it is representative of six senses, we call it a sentient being as opposed to non-sentient. That's it. Because it can sense. It's like this. Its consciousness has the ability to feel and perceive. So if you take a tree or a creeper or a plant, it can perceive sunlight. So if you keep it in a dark place, it will somehow find a way to see sunlight. And if you see the roots, it perceives the water. So what it does, it starts going, the roots going everywhere. That's what the consciousness can do. It's amazing how consciousness works. So, if somebody says there is God, there is nothing wrong. How do you explain this perception? The tree, before it became a tree, it was just a sapling. A small sapling just came out with two leaves, a small leaf, and not that too so small. And it started finding food and going deep and deep and deep and deep and deep. And it started growing like a trunk, and then it starts, goes up, goes up, goes up. How? Isn't it perceiving? It's perceiving. So if somebody thinks it was not at all there before the Buddha, he is a Buddhu, idiot. So these things have been demonstrated again and again in every literature or a philosophical book. But there's a difference what Buddha does, which is what this Pottapada Sutta is all about. Again, I tell you, don't put people down with your wrong understandings or some misunderstanding that only Buddha says is true and nobody else knows it. One of the foolish way, and this blocks your own progress. You have that. Buddha way of doing it is perfection. And that's the reason why we are associated with Buddha, because step-by-step approach, and then you can end the journey. Okay. I think it's time, right? So we'll take it. Ari, will you be there tomorrow? Ari, by chance, are you there tomorrow? Oh, he's busy. So tomorrow I'll be in office, so I don't think so I'll be able to record because it should be done by Ari. And I don't know whether he's there tomorrow for recording or not. You're there?
So tomorrow, I think I can make it. Yeah, I think unless I mean, I'm with Luke's mom, so it may come up something, but yeah, if nothing happens, I should be good.
Okay, so we will keep it as a question mark. If we
Question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, if we meet and Ariu is not there, we'll go for meditation. If Ariu is there, then we'll continue. Otherwise, we continue this on Friday. It's a very intriguing sutta, Pottapada Sutta. Okay. So we will get to see how the Four Noble Truth comes and all that, whatever Venugopal has asked, and then that's a later part of it. But presently, as it stands, the question is on perceptions. So when we say consciousness is the one which knows and perceives. Yep. Like eye, it knows to see. You can't say, come on, I'll teach you how to see it. No, who are you? Ear, it knows to hear. Nose, it knows to smell. Tongue, it knows to taste. Body, it knows to touch. Mind, it knows to cognize. So you are no one to teach it. It knows. It can perceive. It need not be a Buddhist. It need not be a Jain. It need not be a Hindu or a Christian or Muslim or whatever. It can be a tree as well. As long as it can perceive, it's fine. So let's not get into a bitter argument that Moghamanyam iti. That is, all that I am saying is true and everything else is Moghamanyam. Mogha means it's fabricated bullshit. No, not at all. And these guys who have come to meet the Buddha are the most intelligent people. The head on thing with Pottapada. Okay, so it's nice thing. Okay, good day and good afternoon.